Hi, everyone. Welcome to Project Pro podcast. I'm Binny. I'm the co-founder of Project Pro, and I have with me here Ambujesh. Ambujesh has over 7 years of experience as a data scientist, ML engineer, and more recently, a lot of experience on NLP. Ambujesh is a lead data scientist at Harman, and he has done a bunch of end-to-end projects using NLP, specifically more recently on LLM with a RAG approach. Ambujesh, thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Yeah, thanks, Vinny. It was great honor to just be a part of Project Pro.
Thank you. Ambujesh, to begin with, since the topic of focus is RAGs, it would be very
Yeah.
helpful for all of us to understand um, what was the original problem in the world of LLMs that was there, and why did RAG had to come to solve that? What problem is RAG actually solving,
Okay.
and what is it? Yeah.
Sure. So before going to RAG, right?
Yeah.
I'll just give a brief about like what's happening with LLMs and larger models like
Yeah.
LLM models and all. So
Yeah.
basically, there are three ways or four ways which we can take help from that large models like
Hmm.
LLMs.
Hmm.
So first is a simple prompt. Like if say we have a very pretty straightforward use case, say
Yeah.
sentiment analysis, so we can
Hmm.
just ask the model like, okay, this is my sentence, and you can do classify this based on sentiment, like it's a positive sentiment and it's negative sentiment.
Yeah.
So that's a clear approach. So second part is that suppose user has their own data set, custom
Hmm.
data set, and
Hmm.
user has some confidential data which they don't want to share into public, or they don't want a bigger model to train on that. So then this RAG based approach came, that what they will do, they will just tell the larger model like LLM models that, okay, this is my database, like we use vector db in RAG. So this is my database where our data is there, my custom data is there. So you just take this as a reference point and give me the answers.
Hmm.
So that's a whole concept of RAG. And
Yeah.
we will just go in little detail on this RAG part.
Hmm.
And third one is that suppose if RAG is also not working fine, then we need
Hmm.
to fine tune the models, like heavy models.
Yeah.
So that's the third approach.
Hmm.
So these are the three approaches where usually we play around with
Yeah.
the you say Gen AI domain.
Hmm. Understood. Got it. And that is pretty helpful overview on RAG. So you're basically saying that the original problem it was trying to solve is that rather than going through the entire process of fine-tuning a foundation model, you could take this as your first
Mhm.
approach to see if it's working, and you can save time and
Yes.
resources. Yeah.
Yes. So basically,
Okay.
you have your own data. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have your own data, and
Yeah.
you can just build a small. So RAG is pretty much easy rather than if we are going to fine tune the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. So, one of the questions I had was basically, um, for example, if you take a space like, let's say, code generation, right? And let's say you have a foundation model that is, already good at code generation, but as part of the RAG data set, you're using your company's internal code base as the RAG data set.
Mhm.
Like, is there does the RAG data set have to be fundamentally different from what the model has been originally trained in for you to see enough value and efficiency and things like that? Or how does that work usually?
Uh, so basically, if we say fundamental wise, right, it's
Yeah.
same. It's
Hmm.
all like based on embeddings we play.
Hmm. Hmm.
So basically, to generate RAG also, there is a
Yeah.
part called embeddings.
Yeah.
Embeddings we do. So
Yeah.
there is a open source library called Hugging Face, and they have multiple embeddings, right?
Hmm.
The embedding is like the foundation of RAG, and second is vector DBs. So
Yeah.
basically, we store these sort of embeddings into
Hmm.
vector DB.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So coming to your question, so if we do this process right, it it's sort of same. And whenever prompt or whenever we are instructing the model to just
Mm.
give me answer, so what it will do, it will just find the similar embeddings what we have already generated, right?
Yeah.
It will find the similar embeddings, and it will
Yeah.
just give us the answer.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty much whatever we are building, right? Embeddings and vector DB. So the format will be sort of same only. So
Right. Okay, okay, understood. So, in that case, right, Ambujesh, now, like you were mentioning in your previous point, the before RAGs, I mean, you would query a model by using a prompt response kind of approach. And as part of the prompt, you would usually give some kind of a context. So, is it fair to say RAG is basically a way to give a much larger context to the model? Is it very similar to that, do you think?
uh, we can say that, or we can
Okay,
say that it is, restricting our larger model to just see in that particular area only. So it model should not go in the like whole world, and it just provide the answer. Basically, we are restricting our model to
okay,
just look at this vector DB and
yeah,
provide me the take the reference of this vector DB and provide the
uh,
solutions for them. So I
understood,
can say that
understood.
way.
That way. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. And would it be possible from your extensive experience to maybe take any use case where you have used RAG and just help all of us understand in practice how it works? A business problem, and
Okay.
how did you decide you wanted to use RAG? If you could go from there, that'd be very helpful.
Sure.
Yeah,
I will just try to make it as generalized so that everybody of us can understand it
yeah.
clearly. So the problem statement what was given was like I had given one biology book. I think it was 10th standard or 11th standard, whatever,
Mm, mm,
and we had to build a question answer based on that particular biology book, right?
mm,
So
mm,
if we just go and start with some bigger model, or like a
mm,
proprietary model like GPT 3.5 or
mm,
say Llama 2, right?
mm,
So they it's possible that they doesn't have the context of this particular biology book of say
mm,
11th standard, right? So what we have to do, we have to provide the context to that particular model, like
yeah.
okay, this is the area where I want you to understand and provide me the answer, right?
Mm, mm,
So what we did was that we just so from data point of view, I'm just telling that we loaded the data, and
mm,
we did a basic NLP pre-processing, like converting into a data frame, and
mm,
extracting the text of that particular book. Then chunking and overlapping, these are the two concepts. So
mm,
we basically chunk this bigger size of data into
mm,
smaller data. And
mm,
overlap is also very important, that it should have the context of all the sentences. It should not be like one sentence is one chunk, or so overlapping is also one concept. Then
yeah.
embedding is there. So as I was mentioning, from Hugging Face, we got some embeddings like MTAP, like if I'm saying it correct. So these sort of embeddings are there. So I just applied that those embeddings, and I created a vector DB. It was like Facebook's Fires, like
Yeah.
that DB I have used. And after that, this DB was created. Now it was turned to write some prompt that, okay, based on given context, you need to give me the answer, right? So now whenever user is asking something like, okay, what is genome? Okay, short of, then it will take same embeddings, and it will just apply to the model, or that Llama 2 we have used here, Llama 2 7 billion, because that I used in my personal system. So I think I should move with the little detail of that Llama 2 also. So Llama
Sure.
2 7 billion is a like, yeah, is an open source model developed by Meta. But this is the very, you can say, light model as of now we have. So in a personal use case, we can use that. And the
Yeah.
7 billion is like number of parameters we use.
Yeah.
So even though we use that in our personal system, but that's very slow short of. So
Mm,
to play with the Llama 2, we had the embeddings, and we wrote prompt in such a way that this particular context and whatever prompt we are giving, it will just go in, find the same embeddings and will go to the model. Now
Mm,
that model will look on that particular vector space and will provide me the answers, like it will
mm,
generate. So RAG full form is retrieval augmented generation.
mm,
So it will just retrieve the information from our database, like
yeah,
whatever vector db files in case I have created, and it will just give me the solution. So in end to end, this was the sort of problem statement and the process what we have followed.
understood, understood. Very
Yeah.
interesting. And I mean, with a use case like this, right? Now, with RAG or without RAG, if you had implement a similar use case, what kind of
Mhm.
difference do you see in the output of a system like this with and without RAG?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. So first, in any cases, right, suppose we have a specific domain which we know that okay, model cannot perform good.
Yeah,
So in that cases, we just play with some prompts. Okay, just we will just give, for example, I just mentioned one of the question, what is genome, right? So suppose if I'm taking GPT 3.5 model and I'm just querying, okay, you need to just provide me answer of what is genome, right?
yeah.
So that descriptions will be very large or in a very large scale, or it's a very
Hmm.
generalized term. But
Ah,
for a 11th standard student, there has to be a particular limitations, like okay, this is a
right.
2 point answer, so that's why
Hmm.
we use RAG. That was a
Understood.
very basic example. We
Hmm.
have domain specific RAGs which is built over multi companies, multinational companies, they are building RAGs and all. So if say your confidential data is there, right,
Yeah.
and that RAG will be very helpful on that, like if you have the data.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Rather than using that confidential data to, I guess, fine tune the model, and if it is OpenAI, that'll probably further
That's fine.
uptrain the model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Fine tuning is like very lengthy process, and it
Yeah.
requires a lot of memories and
Right.
like many effort it requires. So
Right. Makes sense. Okay. And what's next? I mean, so RAG is probably the most popular enhancements to using LLMs today. What else do you see come on? What are the problems with RAG, which are being solved by new frameworks or technologies coming out now?
okay, so the main problem is hallucination.
Yeah.
Hallucination is like where you are asking a particular prompt, and
Yeah.
the model is giving some random answer.
Yeah.
So we play with one major parameter called temperature.
Mm.
So if we increase the temperature, model will have its own freedom and it will just creatively provide you answer. And if
Right.
we keep temperature as low,
Yeah.
then it will just stick to the answer. But
Mm.
we have seen
Mm.
that in various cases that model doesn't perform good even though if RAG is there, right?
Mm.
So hallucination is, that is the term is called hallucination. So the
Yeah.
next thing, I mean, what we should do, I mean, in this, that we, I mean, anyway, suppose if that it's expensive memory wise, cost wise, but fine tuning the model is the ultimate solution.
Hmm.
So what we need to do is we need to create a bigger data set and
Hmm.
we need to fine tune the model. So if I say about Llama 2,
Hmm.
so Llama 2 7 billion, because
Hmm.
say suppose if I am going to fine tune my model into that local system only,
Yeah.
but I won't be able to do that. Even though GPU, Google's GPU is 15 GB graphics card they provide, right? But
Yeah.
7 billion parameters you need to load, that's a very huge task.
Yeah.
So there are some, like concepts called low adaptation. LoRa is there, Q LoRa is there. So what
Mm.
essentially it will do, it's a workaround in which you in the local system also you can just fine tune your bigger model, say Llama
Yeah.
2 and all. So
Right.
basically it will just drastically reduce your like parameters. So
Yeah.
basically we play around with the parameters and all.
Yeah. This is very interesting. So one question I have, and just tell me if I understood this
Yeah,
correctly or wrongly, which is, so you're saying the fundamental problem with RAG is obviously hallucinations, and the only visible solution to that is actually fine tuning with your data set, which is basically, I mean, the underlying solution here seems to be that you want an LLM that is as customized to your data set as possible, so hallucinations are lesser.
yeah.
So does that mean that we will go in the direction of smaller and smaller models rather than these huge models? You have to take them and fine tuning them with your scenario. Will we see only a 12 standard biology model, which is an expert at that, but it won't know anything else about English or other things? Like, do you think that's where we'll go? Or?
I was coming to that point only. Basically,
Okay.
so in Gen AI generation, right?
Yeah.
Everything, every day we are coming with some new,
Yeah.
models like
Exactly. Yeah.
Llama 3 is there. So the intention is that only that it should understand all the things, and the
Hmm.
size of model should be very lesser so that everybody
Right.
can use. I think we were playing with one model called Tiny Llama that we
Okay.
could just install, and we could have played, but that was not working properly. So this is where the thing is getting little delayed.
Yeah.
Basically, if they are reducing the parameters, so hallucination or non-performance things are coming up. So that, I think what you said was completely right. The models will be of lesser size, and it will be easy to fine tune. So fine
Right.
tune will be always there. Fine tuning
Hmm.
will be always there, because
Yeah.
I mean, we are into immense level of data. There are multiple domains, there are multiple data. So, and it's very difficult for any model to, just get trained on whole data.
Hmm.
Because if I say there will be some companies where the data is not public, they have
Hmm.
their own data in, their own server.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the model or the bigger model have not seen that data. So how
Hmm.
they can, just do any task on that. So
Yeah.
fine tuning will be always there
Yeah.
wherever. But yeah, I think the future is that only they will make a model very lesser,
Yeah.
so that we can, run that on our local system
Hmm.
without any much memories and all.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Which is, I guess, even though I guess OpenAI and everybody's aim is to get AGI, general intelligence, but until we get there, I think this intermediate step of having super expertise, small models which are deep domain experts in one area or few areas, will help a lot more
Yeah,
than having a very general purpose model that is huge and hallucinates a lot in your scenarios. Yeah,
correct,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. And since you are in the industry, you worked at a company like Harman for many years. In what kind of, I mean, so Gen AI, how much of it is still in prototype and POC stage? How much of it has gone into production? What kind of use cases are you seeing mostly going into production? That'll be great to understand.
With the introduction of Gen AI or LLMs, right? So
Yeah.
we are working on like multi-process level. So we
Hmm.
are like at a time, say suppose in our team there are 5 data scientists, and
Hmm.
earlier we were working on one project, and
Hmm.
say suppose it was like POC only. POC wise, it was taking 1 month to complete. Now
Hmm.
we 5 data scientists are using 5 different use cases,
Hmm.
and so first thing is like prompt engineering, like how you write a prompt. So that's a sort of trial and error method. Like we just write in prompt in such a way, then we just enhance or analyze the data, like analyze the performance, basically whether those are giving correct answers or not. So then we just go with RAG, whether RAG is essential, or we can use any other model like
Hmm.
Mistral is also there and all. So to just give your questions answer is like there are huge number of POC which is going for going at the production level. I mean,
Hmm.
huge number of POCs. So in short, if I say that okay, in the production level, say 10% or 20% are getting production ready, but
Hmm.
the POCs which everybody can, like one or data scientist or two data scientists can create a POC. Look, okay, this is what I am thinking,
mm,
and it's not only based on complete Gen AI part. It's ensemble also. Suppose we have a traditional machine learning approach, right? And we can just create LLM on that particular part, and we
yeah.
can just so those are the things which is so it's very relaxing, it's very soothing to see,
Mhm,
like its industry is moving into its feet, running,
mhm.
I can say.
Right, yeah, especially since you've been a data scientist for many years right now, you probably have seen this
Mhm.
evolution happening over a few years and rapidly over the last 18, 24 months.
Correct, correct.
Right, right. Um, see, obviously, we are all very excited about what's going to happen with LLM and Gen AI. But I would love to understand from you what can go wrong, meaning uh, what due to what will all this hype just fall apart, and in 1.5 years this will all seem like the crypto hype that happened in 2017, and after that everything disappeared. Like, what can go wrong in the situation?
So, one major thing what I am seeing is that data governance is,
Mm,
like whenever we talk about LLMs, we talk about Gen AI, right? So,
mm,
data governance is like something. I mean, bigger giants or tycoons, they have to understand, because I was just reading one article in which IBM Watson. So it was telling that whenever a new model is coming, right, it has to
mm,
follow some data governments. They have some data governance thing, and
yeah.
it was seen that many of the models was not passing into that data governance process.
Hmm.
So we are not sure how data they are using, or like which sort of data they are using. So
Right.
I think in coming years, this can be one of the thing, like
Hmm.
restrictions over data. As I was saying you that uh, there are confidential data, there are multiple other things. So data part, I think it's little concerning that or I mean, within 1 year or 2 years, I am hoping to see one data governance thing, so that
Yeah.
I mean, it will be a sort of neutralize all those things. Like, okay, nobody's doing any wrong or
Yeah.
short.
Right. No, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's a very interesting point that this could all fall apart if data govern because you need enterprise adoption at the end of the day because that's where the money is. But enterprise adoption is completely proportional to the strength
Yes.
of data governance. And if it's a deterministic system that
Mhm.
relies on structured data, then governance is kind of straightforward. You can draw a line and say this is your inside and outside. But with a LLM, where
Yeah.
everything is very fuzzy and you don't know which data is being used to train what. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
makes
So
sense.
actually, to just add up, yeah, to just
Yeah,
add up a point, I think 2 years back when OpenAI was just announcing this GPT model, I think
yeah,
it was 1.5 year back.
yeah.
So they did not make this public. So basically, they only just shared some parameters and only
Mm,
the API, that okay,
mm,
this is what. So I think some sort of legality was started there only, that okay,
mm,
this is a huge turning of let's say in AI, right? And
yeah,
why you are not sharing. So I think
right.
from there only, that they are using so many resources, so much memory, they are doing anything. So how they can share everything to open source. So
Right.
I think it will be there, and they will have to get back into some state where everything will be fine, or
Mm,
understood, like okay,
yeah,
this is what happening.
right, right. That's a fair point. So just a couple of final questions, Ambujesh, that we are curious about. One is, earlier inside a company, there was a data science team where all kinds
Mhm.
of data science work would go to originally. But now, with this whole intelligence being just an API call away for LLM,
Mhm.
do you think regular developers will also start doing a bunch of this data science integrations into their applications? Do you think everybody will be a data scientist right now? What do you think about that?
Uh, yeah, I think as per. as per our tech giants, it's coming like they are saying that to you just need an English language for to
Right.
become an AI engineer and all.
Yeah. I
But
think Databricks
my
released something like,
answers
yeah.
would be yes and no.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah. So
Okay.
yes and no will be my answer,
Yeah.
because see, there are like I'll just give you one example which
Mm.
will clarify. Say
Mm.
suppose we are building one fintech data, like
Mm.
finance data, which is a
Mm.
classification model. Okay,
Yeah.
so in that we have multiple columns, like
Mm.
say credit was yes or no on these things, and it has text also, right? Text also, and we need to create a classification model. So machine learning or the deep learning part is still required. Only we can use, or we can take help of LLM just to take the NLP task. Like,
Mm.
okay, this is a huge NLP chunk in our column, so we can create a special features on that.
Yeah.
So still task would be a machine learning task only, but we can take a help of LLM.
Yeah.
So there are multiple companies who has owned or who has taken this OpenAI subscription or
Yeah.
Azure subscription.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are just playing with this prompt engineering on the heavy side. But
Yeah.
I think that data scientist will be there. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
suppose the role will be more responsible, that
Mm.
okay, under one data scientist there will be five engineers, so
Yeah.
data scientists know that okay, how this is working and all. And
Yeah.
I'll just connect this point to my first point, which was fine tuning.
Yeah.
So this fine tuning is always will be always there, where we
Mm.
are working in company A or company B. So to
Mm.
fine tune, you need to understand the model, you need to
Mm.
understand the parameters and all.
Yeah.
So that's why I told yes and no. So yes, in the sense, like okay, data scientists will be always there, and it will be
Right.
necessary for them. But yeah, to just help them, or to just ease up the task, what application task is there, engineers can adapt that prompt engineering, and they can straight away
Right.
work.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, actually. You're saying that if you're
Mhm.
closer to the foundation model part of the stack, then you need to be a real serious data scientist. You need to understand the fundamentals of NLP
Yes,
and things
yes,
like
yes,
that. But if you're just using that in the application layer, then you can be a Java developer or PHP developer, and you can still
yes,
you'll be fine.
correct.
Okay, yeah, that actually is a very good point. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Um, um, the other thing I was curious about, Amjesh, is that let's say a data scientist or maybe some other developer, they want to do a career transition into becoming a Gen AI lead like you. Where do they even start?
Mhm.
Like, every time I try to go and stay in touch in this field, I will read something, and that day evening, I'll read something else, which will say that the thing I read in the morning is outdated. So, so it's a little
Mhm.
depressing to stay in touch. Like, how do you go about this? Where do you even start? How do you upskill and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's really I
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, so I think yeah, you are absolutely correct. It's very overwhelming, and every day some new things are coming at now.
Hmm.
So what I would suggest, or what my funda was, that you have to just get the basic knowledge of how this LLM, or how this natural language processing is has transitioned from let's say we were using TF-IDF, LSTM, to this Gen AI part.
Yeah.
So one way would be very easy. Suppose in 1 month or 2 months there are multiple courses in Coursera, that
Mm.
you can just, if you have Python knowledge, then you can easily learn LangChain or Llama model, Llama Index, which is
Mm.
frameworks over LLMs. So this will help in a great way. But from my point of view, I think you should understand that what is happening actually. So if I want to understand Llama or large language model, I should have
Mm.
at least knowledge of what is attention, what is transformer in this scenario. So that will help me in a long time.
Yeah.
So two part one. So first is just stick to the Python and let's say LangChain, and you
Yeah.
can easily create any of the you can be a data scientist in Gen AI part. But
Yeah.
you have to keep on studying over over the time, so that you know what is happening, and you
Mm,
could easily adapt, like, okay, what changes they are doing, what
mm,
changes it's coming, what was the issue, and why they are going with this. So that will really help. And also paper. So basically, if you just see, there are multiple channels, there are multiple resources. I think yours one is also one, Project Pro is like one of them, that you should, just follow them, like,
mm.
so for example, Analytic Vidya is one of the website is there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you, if you just go, right, so they will have the some topics. Okay, this
Mm,
Llama 3 is coming, or GPT 5 something is coming. So you can just check, and oh, why Llama 3 is coming, okay, what is the difference between this. So I think just curiosity will be the main key, and everything will be good.
That's a very good point. Curiosity is the key to it. And then, as and when you work on
Yes,
something, you will go and search for what is relevant to that point problem you're trying to solve, and you'll just learn as you go.
sure,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Thank you so much, Ambujesh. This was very, very helpful. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thanks for providing me this opportunity, and I'm also like honored to I see this Project Pro, like I was just going with this YouTube channel in past some time. So I've seen that how Project Pro is giving solutions to all the upcoming data scientists in a good way, in a, you can say, grounded way, what they need to learn and all. So that's very fantastic. So keep it up, I think, and it's great honor to be part of Project Pro.
Thank you so much for saying those kind words. Those means a lot to us.
Mhm.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you, thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you,
Yeah.
Vinny.